What's going on, family? Listen, we are back with another episode of Conversations with Kenny, man. Listen, I'm excited about this episode, man. This is a really, really special one. But before I jump into that, I got to apologize about the delay from last week because I know some of y'all were probably thinking, like, where's the episode? Like, why he's released the episode? There were some things that had came up that I had to attend to where I couldn't necessarily release it last week. And I apologize for not making y'all aware and informing y'all beforehand, but there was just so much going on to where, I couldn't necessarily get around to it. And so my apologies on that. My apologies about the delay, but we are back with a brand new episode. We ain't never left y'all, for real, for real. And this episode, again, as I said, this is a really, really special one. Really, really, really special one, man. But before I go into the topic, I wonder how y'all day is going, man, for real. Like, I wonder how people are feeling. I know there's so much going on in the world. So much that's just happening, right? Just in our own personal lives, outside of what's going on in the world. So much that we're navigating, right? And so I just want to just check in with y'all to make sure everything is okay, right? Sometimes we need to be checked on, you know what I mean? Sometimes that's absolutely necessary in order for us to, build some sort of strength to continue to move forward to where, you have folks who are there who can support you, that you have a community of people that are there to just help you in whatever space that you're in your life, right? But that community that you can go to and just say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Hey, I got this question, right? But just having that community is just very important, right? And that's one of the things I hope to build as we are working on this podcast and as we continue to release episodes. I just hope that we build community, that we continue to build community throughout this process, because that's important, right? This podcast wouldn't be what it is without you all viewing, without you all just listening and tuning in every single time we upload an episode. It's because of you all that, folks know about what we're doing. They know about the podcast, and they know that it's changing lives. And so I appreciate you all for that. And so I just wanted to first just apologize about the delay on not informing you all about me not releasing an episode last week, but then also just really on the importance of community, right? Because it's very, very big. And just wanted to take the time to just check in, right? Because again, that's absolutely important sometimes for us to check in with each other, right? And so I hope that just to continue to do this as we continue to build out and create each episode along the way. Going to my topic. So this episode, man, is very, very special to me because if you haven't already, if you've been under a rock, you may not have known that this past weekend, the Sinners film hit theaters. And, so many people went to go see it right when it came out. We weren't one of the ones that seen it. My wife and I, we actually saw it this past Sunday. And I with there may be some spoilers, but I'm gonna try not to spoil you in terms of sharing what has happened on Sinners. But if I do, forgive me, because more likely that'll probably happen. But this is special because if you haven't seen the movie Sinners already, which is directed by Ryan Coogler, you need to go see it. Like, you need to go and see it and go to the theater, right? Go to the theater. Don't be one of those people that, you wait until it hit Amazon Prime or it hits in that. Like, don't be one of those people. Go to the theater, go support Black films, go support Black businesses, because this is a Black business, might I add. But just go support, right? So if you haven't seen the movie already, go see it. But I'm just going to share some of my initial thoughts with the movie. And this episode is really meant to be like an open-ended like discussion and everything. So if you have comments, for those of you who watch the film and you have comments in the chat about the film, put it in the comments, man. And I hope to hear what you all have gathered from the film from those who have already watched it. But the one thing I will say right away when I watched it, when we watched it, when we went to go see it, we actually went to go see it in IMAX, and so we got a whole different experience with that. But the one thing that I will say that the movie has done for me, let me just say that before I go into like what I thought about parts and all that stuff. But the one thing that the movie did for me was it invigorated me even the more to be who I am. Right. And I want to just emphasize that invigoration, because you get motivated and you get inspired by stuff. We get motivated and inspired by stuff all the time, right? But there are very few things and very few, whether that's films, whether that's music, there are very few avenues that impact and empower us the way that Sinners did when we watched it in film. Um, so I would say I was much more invigorated in terms of like who I am as a person, who I am as a man, as a black man, as a black person, right? And me being in my blackness, right? There was such an invigoration in me and just saying, this is who I am, and like I'm proud to be who I am, right? It was just such an invigoration to just do like be who I am, but then also do what it is that I'm set out to do, right? Like to do the thing that I'm called to do. Um, the one thing I do appreciate about Ryan Coogler's films and any film that he's directed, this is the fifth, I believe the fifth film that he has directed it. Um, but one thing I love about Ryan Coogler's films is that he's very intentional about the story he tells or the stories he tells, but also the cast that he works with to tell those stories, right? Ryan Coogler is very specific about who he's connected with, who he's going to cast in any film that he wants to produce or wants to create. And I love that about Ryan Coogler. I love that process. But I would say the first thing that I can say about the film is that it gave me a whole nother level of motivation, a whole nother level of empowerment and inspiration, not just overall inspiration and motivation, but just motivation and inspiration solely about who I am in my blackness, right? And you know, there are times where people who kind of go off of that subject because people want to oftentimes be neutral, right? And it's one of those things where it's like I'm black. Like I'm black. I can't change this or anything like that. Like I am who I am, and I'm going to be that, right? And so this movie really just reminded me that we as a people are more powerful than we think. That we as a people, and I'll just speak just on our people, black people, we have so much greatness on the inside of us, like so much. We've created so much, we've developed so much, right? And that's why oftentimes you have other folks in other cultures who try to emulate our culture and try to benefit off our culture because they know what we can create from it. You feel what I'm saying? And that was a huge tell in the movie Sinners, right? That was a huge tell. Again, I'm gonna try not to give spoilers, but I'm probably am going to give some. Um, but that was one of the things I thought about after I watched the film. But when I watched the thing I noticed right away was the cinematography. Um, Cinematography wise, I think Ryan Coogler is a genius. I know there's an interview where he's talking about how he went through the process of filming the movie in IMAX, and just what that process looked like and everything like that. And honestly, bro, for real, like that was really inspiring because it 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 tells a different story based on how you're viewing it, right? And there's nothing wrong with the traditional cinematic view, but that IMAX view, I think it told a whole different picture. It gave a whole different picture. It told a whole different story, and even expanded the story from a cinematic standpoint. And for those I edit videos, and so um, part of me editing the videos is you know considering things like color contrast, considering color grading, considering LUTs, and just all of those things. And so that's something I'll a lot of times when I'm watching something, I notice that right away. I notice like just how the cinematography is going, and so that's something I recognized from the get go. Um, was the cinematography. Ryan Coogler is a hell of a genius for doing what he did and going about it the way that he did. And I say that respectfully. He's a hell of a genius. And I honestly believe like he is in his prime in terms of, film, in terms of the directorial, um, from the directorial standpoint. I believe he's in his prime. Another thing that I got from the movie, man, was so there's this part. I'm giving a spoiler. So there's a portion where um, Preacher Boy, that's one of the characters, Preacher Boy, which is played by Miles Canton. If you don't know who Miles Canton is, go look him up. He been singing since he was a child. He's one of those people where he has the natural ability to sing, but he also has a whole lot of folks around him who can sing and that help them to nurture that gift. And so if you sing centers and you know who I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And one particular scene in the film was when he was singing and they how they made the shot was basically you seen all the transitions in terms of the music. Like you saw from the blues and then you saw all this built up and development in terms of music throughout the years and how music has developed. And you songs started mixing together, right? You seen, music, you heard music from this time age and frame, and so what that showed me was is that what we've done has always been connected, and I think that was just a prime example, um, from the musical standpoint, that just how we as I'm speaking on our people, how us as black people, when it comes to this music, just how much our music is interconnected, right? And it was just so powerful because again, Miles Canton, that brother, I think that brother got a gift even outside of the film. That brother got a gift, and he just hearing him sing that, and as he's singing, I'm feeling something like. It's almost like it wasn't just like one of those things was like, ooh, that gave me goosebumps, but it's like, ooh, that gives me goosebumps, but what do I do with what I'm feeling? Like, what do I do with this? The thing I loved about the movie is that you didn't just watch it and you were like, oh, that was a great film. You watched it and you walked out of there like, man, I'm a better person. Like I've as a result of this film, like I've learned so much about just our people in this film and everything. And they talked about all the stuff that, there's so many theories and things like that. There's so many, not theories, but just so many takes on the film and everything. But I think another part for me was just that musical aspect. Um, I mean, again, I won't go too much into it, but there's a portion where they're singing in the club and it's called a juke joint. And they're singing in the juke joint, and it as he's singing, you hear all other kinds of music built up as that character is continuing to sing. and all the music that you hear is connected to each other. Like it's like one thing, it's like one type of music is built off the other, and then that's built off that, and it's built off that. And I feel like Ryan Coogler really did a great job and with his vision on that. You know what I'm saying? With his um just with his thought process with all of that. And so yeah, one, I think it was very invigorating in terms of who I am as a person, who I am as black person, as a black man. Um, but then also that musical aspect of it as well. And I'm I believe, especially when it comes to music, like we taking over on that as black people. But we basically taking over on anything. It's just that other folks have come into our culture, and from what we've created, they've tried to benefit off of it, right? But we honestly, man, and again, this is no shade or disrespect to anyone else of any other color or anything like that. But I'm just being real. We we have built so much for this nation, only for people, only for others to come by and take that away from us. I think about Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was a reference that I thought about when watching Sinners. I thought about, um, the four girls who were burned down in that church. Like I thought about all of that. I thought about those things when watching Sinners. Um, Even the part where, which again is we talking about spoilers, we into it. Even the part where, um, I guess the guy, I forget, he's played by Omar Miller, and Omar Miller is a guy, I think he played off Great Debaters, but his character was basically telling them to like let him in the juke, let him in the juke joint. Now, if you know the people, if you know everybody, right, and you're in the group, you shouldn't have to like ask to go in. Um, but he continued to ask to go in. But this was also signifying that, because if you don't know about Sinners, another aspect of Sinners is that it is a vampire horror film as well. And I guess him asking the folks that were in the juke joint to let him in was a signal that this dude could be a vampire. Um, because if you were of the fold, you wouldn't have no problem coming in. But why do you have to ask me to come in? And one of the characters did ask, why are you asking him that? But again, I won't go too much into it. Again, I would recommend you watch the film, and I'm sure you're gonna get um all that you'll get from it, but you'll definitely gather something from it. Um, I will say I appreciated how versatile Michael B. Jordan was in terms of playing his characters. And if you don't already, Michael B. Jordan plays the characters Smoke and Stacks. Both of them are brothers, and they're both twins. But the way he played the film, because you know, especially when it comes to twin roles, there are some identical factors because they're twins, but there are also some differences. And oftentimes when you watch films where there are twins in it, you oftentimes know more of the identical factors versus the differences. And I think Michael B. Jordan did a really good job, really, really good job of playing each character and bringing out the differences in each character. Smoke being one who was very serious, like straight chaser, like no bull crapping, nothing. Like it is what it is. He's just straightforward. He's a man of like few words. He was a army vet, not army vet. I'm sorry. He was just a vet. He was a war vet, but very much serious. But then you have Stack, who he's like the producer, right? He is the one who actually got the money to start the juke joint, was looking for the talent and everything like that. But Stacks was like your really, really relaxed, like type person. Um, and I love it because I feel like when I watched that movie and I saw him play those characters, I feel like I have both of those in me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I have both of those characters. Like I have the portion where I'm like serious, like get stuff done, but then I have like the part where I'm like laxing, laughing, like, and just want to have fun, right? Which I feel like, for me, yeah, I have those two pieces, but I feel like a lot of people have those, right? So I really believe Michael B. Jordan did a really good job on him playing those characters, and then all the other actors and actresses who played in their roles. Man, the casting was just top tier. I mean, with the cherry on top. The casting was so on point, and everybody was so dedicated, and everybody was so committed to playing their character, right? There was even times where Michael B. Jordan would be playing the twins, and I would forget that that was Michael B. Jordan acting, right? But that tells me how much a great of an actor and actress that you are when I forget who you are as a real person. You feel what I'm saying? Um, One movie that I like, this coming off subject, one we actually like is Juice, right? With Tupac. Even though I hated the character, he did a heck of a job playing that role because I totally forgot that was Tupac, right? Um, but Sinners, man, Sinners was definitely a life changing film. Made me think a lot about, am I giving enough to what I'm doing, right? Not even just on the blackness piece, because that's very important to me, and I'm gonna stand 10 toes on that. But even on the standpoint of purpose, right? Passion. And one of the questions that kept popping up in my head was like, am I doing enough with what I'm doing? Right? Am I doing enough with the platforms, with the gifts, with the talents, with all of the abilities that were given to me? Am I doing enough? And am I doing it with purpose and with an invigoration and a depth? You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of folks can do something, but if there's no depth, to why you're doing it, then there's no purpose to it, right? There's no purpose to why you should be doing it. Like if there's no substance in why and you're doing that thing and why you're doing it, then why do you do it? You feel what I'm saying? And so since I watched that movie, it has just reminded me and just really just invigorated me just on a whole nother level, to where as he was talking with my wife, and I was just like, that movie invigorated me. Like that movie put a battery on my back. Like it's just so much to get from the film, man, that I can go on and on and on and on and on about the film. Um, just very, very much inspiring, and I can't thank Ryan Coogler enough for what he did, man. Ryan Coogler, you again, you did a hell of a job on that, and I believe millions and millions of people who have watched it feel the same way, right? And you have your people who, you have their critiques about it, people who talk negative about it, and that all that stuff is that stuff comes with it. But the message that I believe Ryan Coogler was aiming to convey, I believe he did it. And I believe he did it masterfully. I believe he did it with so much intention. I always say, it's funny, I was telling my wife, I said, I always say, like, just how I feel about Kendrick Lamar and his run from last year and his run this year, I feel the same way about Ryan Coogler. Because that brother, he killing the game. He is killing the game. And from a creative standpoint, right? Because even speaking from a creative standpoint, being a content creator, being a video editor, um, I have my own creative agency through Affirm Creatives. Um, Shout out to Affirm Creatives LLC. Um, but just from a creative standpoint of not just what I'm creating, but how can I implement more intentionality, right, in what I'm creating, right? And watching Sinners, it just, the pieces lined up each time. There was never a point in time where I was like confused about something. Like if I was really paying attention to it, I understood it, and one of the things you want to do, this is for all the folks out there, you create content. You want to, when you're sharing your content, when you're putting out content, you want to give something that people can understand and digest, right? And there are people who left, they're saying like there's too much for them and all of that. My thing is like, do what you will, do what you will. Because I have people come across my timeline talking about Sinners, and it's like, it's this, and it's like it's just demonic and all of that stuff. It's like, do what you will. Do what you will. Make the decision that's best for you. My thing is don't tell anybody else to make a decision, right? Don't tell anybody else to do something. Like, don't be telling other people to do like don't tell people what to do. You make a decision that's best for you. If it's not sitting right with your spirit, that's just what it is. If it's not sitting right with your spirit, that's just what it is. And I mean, period. You know what I'm saying? And so this film really, I feel like really just catapulted myself. I really think it really catapulted a lot of people within our culture, man, because I felt like for a long time, like our culture was under attack. You feel what I'm saying? Our culture was under trial, right? Under attack. And I think this movie just solidified that we ain't going nowhere and that we are here to stay. You know what I'm saying? We are here to stay. And I'm just appreciative of the film. I'm just appreciative of, what it had to say. I mean, even the how they conveyed the message of, with the church, and how the church responds to it and everything like that. And it was just so much that was just encapsulated through this film. And I'm very grateful that we watched it. And I actually shared with my wife, I said, I'm down to watch it again. So we're going to watch it again for sure. And probably watch it 2-3 more times. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those films where you have to, I feel like you kind of have to watch it again. You know what I'm saying? To be able to understand it a bit more. It's like how I am when I listen to Kendrick's music, right? I listen to it and I'm like, dang, that's hard. But then I've listened to it again to see, hey, man, I missed that. Like, that was, whoa, he said that. I didn't see that. And I feel like it's going to be the same way with Sinners, right? And I caught as much as I could from the first time, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that I see the second time and all those times that we watch it. But yeah, again, this episode was just for me to just talk about that, right? And talk about my feelings and my thoughts on the film and everything. And then, so I think another piece of the film that really just got to me in terms of like, dang, that was, I will say, Preacher Boy, with him, the whole relations between him and that young lady, he said he became a man at that time. And if you watch the film, you know what I'm talking about with Preacher Boy and the young lady. You know what I'm referring to. I won't go into it. Again, I'm not gonna go into any too much spoilers. I won't go into that. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you gotta watch the film. Again, go watch the film. Go to the actual theater. Do not wait. Do not wait until the film hits Amazon Prime or Net. Don't be one of those people again. Go watch the film. Go invest, support, um, bring your family along with you because it is one of those films. Like because one of the another aspect about the film that I gathered from it was the importance of community, and it was one of those things like we're not gonna let you tear down what we built. Like we're not gonna let you tear our house down. Like we're not gonna let you, come in and infiltrate and mess things up. That mess up what we got going on here, basically. And I love that. I love that because especially like in our culture, like we value that. Like community is highly important in our culture, and we value that greatly. And so it was really good to see that. Um, it was really good just seeing how black it was on the set, how black it was. Just all my it just exuded like it just made me feel so good. It's just to see our people on there in the throes and I mean in the fold and it is just man I'm trying to get emotional right now just thinking about it because it was that good. And so um yeah, just wanted to talk about that, man. And again, if you watched the movie Sinners and you want to talk about what your thoughts were on it and what you gathered from it, definitely share in the comments. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. If there's something I didn't share about the film that you want to touch on, that you want to bring up, definitely put it in the comments, man. I would love to hear, and I would love to just go back and forth with you on just what we learned. You know what I'm saying? Because we all can learn something from this film, and man, Ryan Coogler, man, you did your thing. You did your thing masterfully. So thank you, brother. Thank you for all that you do. Um, so I appreciate everybody for jumping on, man, and continue to jump on and rock with us every single time we post. If you haven't already and you're watching this for the first time, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Show your boys support. We're going to continue to build this out and grow with each other. And so I appreciate y'all. Much love, man. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Peace.